Guarantee that's plus, that's plus, that's plus. Because if unbeatable cost, customer service, A plus, it all kind of tasks come down to Tals Plus. We also got gas and vanity. Boss, boss, you'll see. Come down to my nobody, we got the best as an island. Trust me. We are located Land Road in Castries, Bosses Jubilee Lanes, and Flag Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939.
Girl, I've been so stressed searching for the perfect tiles to complete my home.
Really?
Yeah, it's always the same white, beige, and gray tiles with the style stores. Like they're all buying from the same place. You're the design expert. Help me, please. I'm fed up.
What are you looking for?
Something different. Something that says Caribbean beauty and suits my personality. Something vibrant and classy with a little razzle dazzle.
Okay, Ms. Razzle Dazzle, I know just the place. Island Style Tile and Bath, they're my number one store for everything tile. And with their new In Living Color collection, you'll find the most gorgeous styles to give you that splash of Caribbean flair you're looking for.
That sounds perfect.
I'll even take you myself and throw in a free design consultation.
I'll never say no to that, sis. I can't afford you anyway.
Visit our Island Style showrooms in Castries, Rodney Bay, and Beaufort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. We'll help bring your vision to life in living color.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And that's of course the 1.1. It's now time for your weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Talemba. The forecast for St. Lucia Valley for the next 24 hours. Winds will be blowing from between the east, northeast, and east near 14 miles per hour or 22 kilometers per hour, becoming lighter or variable at times. The weather partly cloudy to cloudy with scattered light to moderate showers and a chance of isolated thunderstorms. Also, there is an advisory in the area which reads residents and motorists in areas prone to flooding and landslides are advised to be vigilant and exercise caution. The forecast for Los Angeles is partly cloudy to cloudy skies with scattered light to moderate showers and isolated thunderstorms over the central Windward Islands and areas further south. Elsewhere, partly cloudy skies with a few showers. And a tropical weather outlook, moist and unstable conditions in the atmosphere will result in cloudy periods with scattered showers and thunderstorms mainly over the southern half of the Los Angeles during the forecast period. A tropical wave associated with an area of disturbed weather is located over the central tropical Atlantic. Gradual development of the system is expected, and a tropical depression could form by early next week as it approaches the Los Angeles. It is currently moving westward near 15 miles per hour or 24 kilometers per hour. A second tropical wave is located over the eastern tropical Atlantic. Some slow development of this wave is possible as it moves westward near 17 miles per hour or 28 kilometers per hour over the next few days. And this was your weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Talemba.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
Girl, I've been so stressed searching for the perfect tiles to complete my home.
Really?
Yeah, it's always the same white, beige, and gray tiles with the style stores. Like they're all buying from the same place. You're the design expert. Help me, please. I'm fed up.
What are you looking for?
Something different. Something that says Caribbean beauty and suits my personality. Something vibrant and classy with a little razzle dazzle.
Okay, Ms. Razzle Dazzle, I know just the place. Island Style Tile and Bath, they're my number one store for everything tile. And with their new In Living Color collection, you'll find the most gorgeous styles to give you that splash of Caribbean flair you're looking for.
That sounds perfect.
I'll even take you myself and throw in a free design consultation.
I'll never say no to that, sis. I can't afford you anyway.
Visit our Island Style showrooms in Castries, Rodney Bay, and Beaufort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. We'll help bring your vision to life in living color.
And welcome back to our program here at the Lunchroom. Of course, we are marking Fête La Wars here in St. Lucia, and we do wish everybody who's celebrating that a very happy, happy day. Now, we've also been discussing the matter of religion. And in fact, just yesterday, I was hoping to have gotten onto that as one of the outputs coming out of the 2022 census report. And then I did note early this morning that there was, in fact, a story that had come out on that very same issue by the St. Lucia Times. So kudos to them for flagging that. But it's certainly very interesting. And it is one of the areas that is generally collected data on denominations, on religion, religious affiliation, and it's certainly collected by demographers around the world and of course statisticians as a means of gauging where people are encamped, so to speak, in terms of their faith or spirituality. And as I was mentioning, of course, when you look at a global picture of it, in terms of the over 8 billion people in the world, about 2.365 billion of them are considered Christian. And that's according to research that's been done by the Pew Research Center. Islam comes in second with 1.907 billion people. And these two faiths, along with Judaism, which is far, far smaller, with only about 14.7 million Jews globally, are seen as the three Abrahamic religions because they all recognize Abraham as a significant figure in their faith stories. And of course, they come from a very similar part of the world in the Middle East, in Arabia, if you like. And so they do certainly share a lot of similarities, but as well some very significant differences, and have also led to significant warfare as well amongst these three different religions. And even, of course, most recently, you can think of the challenges that we saw in terms of World War II and the Holocaust, the impact that it had on individuals of the Jewish faith, who had largely been scattered all around the world, and particularly in Europe. And then, of course, this push towards the creation of a Jewish state, which was effectively achieved later on under Mr. Ben Gurion and many European Jews who came into what was seen as Zion, into this promised land, to reestablish the state of Israel. And of course, even up to today, we're seeing the results of conflicts between these individuals and individuals who are generally adherent to Islam, but also Christians within the Middle East being impacted in the Palestinian region, and of course the ongoing troubles in Gaza and the West Bank up to a day like today. So we have seen, of course, tremendous issues of religion and how it has caused wars over the past. We can go way, way back, of course, and religion has been certainly a very divisive matter. It's been a matter of identity for a lot of individuals. It's in very many ways has been part of culture in very significant ways. But enough of that. The third largest group, interestingly enough, around the world is the secular group, or persons who are non-religious or agnostic. They may believe in a God, but not in any particular faith per se, or they don't believe in God at all. And those, of course, are atheists. And that, in fact, is the third largest grouping in the world, with about 1.193 billion individuals who would be considered secular. And of course, many of these individuals who are in fact secular, when you look at where they're actually coming from, you would find that a lot of it is actually now in Europe. In particular, that is a place where you would have generally associated with Christianity, but you are now seeing significant shifts in the matter of religion in Europe, and some people may even tell you that religion in Europe is almost dead, at least in terms of Christianity, and that you're seeing a significant rise in Islam. Now, these things, of course, are creating significant fractures and cultural divisions, and even the rise of ultra right leaning groups who are desirous of seeing that not occur. And of course, there's a lot of issues there in that regard, which we can perhaps talk to a little bit more. The fourth largest group in the world, as I mentioned, was Hinduism, 1.152 billion. Buddhism, with about 500 million people. Traditional Chinese religion actually comes in at number 6 in the world, with over nearly 400 million people practicing traditional Chinese religious practices. Ethnic religions, about 300 million, and these, of course, religions that are very much tied to identity. African traditional religions, about 100 million adherents. Esoteric religions, about 50 million. Sikhism, which of course is also very much dominant in that of India. And they, of course, have their own lots of challenges there, particularly in the Punjab region of India, in terms of persecution by the dominant population. Mormonism is about 17 million. Then we've got what is known as Spiritism. And this is, just very quickly, some sort of a belief in reincarnation. But there are about 15 million adherents to them in the world. Judaism, as I mentioned, just under 14 million. And then you've got a number of other faiths, some of which I suspect many of us have never heard of at all, like Ayavasi, with over 9 million adherents. It's a sort of a somewhat of a Hindu denomination, but it's sometimes considered different, similar to how you would think Mormonism may not necessarily be directly Christian or seen as a purely Christian religion. The Baha'i faith, about 5 million. Jainism, again, another very long-standing Indian religion, about 4 million. Shinto, which is a traditional Japanese religion, only 4 million. Cao Dai, which I've never heard of actually before. It's actually a Vietnamese monotheistic religion. Zoroastrianism, which is actually a very old religion out of Iran, 2.6 million. And then others such as Tenikyo, Animism, Unitarianism, and Rastafari, with about 600,000 adherents around the world. Now, here in St. Lucia, as I mentioned, we've gotten the data coming out of the recent census, which puts the total population at about 172,000 inhabitants on island. Now, traditionally, we knew that there was a time when Roman Catholicism was by far it was almost a sort of a monotheistic state in some regards here in St. Lucia. And so you would have been speaking about a population that might have been about 95% Roman Catholic. In the last census back in 2010, I believe that figure stood at about 67% of the population being Roman Catholic. Today, according to the census, that percentage has actually fallen to just over half of the population at 50.6%, or 86,967 individuals who identify or who still consider themselves to be Roman Catholic. Of course, the Roman Catholic grouping is still the largest group on island by a significant margin. And interestingly enough, if you were to look at the figures that are now existing within the case of St. Lucia, and we look at the total Christian population, the actual Christian population in St. Lucia, when you tabulate all the various Christian faiths, is actually about 77.4% of the population. So about 3/4 of the population is now considered to be Christian. Now, I think we have a call coming in, so we'll take that call and then get back to the data. Good afternoon and welcome to the lunchroom. What's on your plate today?
Good afternoon, Mr. George.
How are you doing?
Sorry for interrupting you there.
No problem. Go right ahead, caller.
You're on a roll there. Everybody okay?
Yes, thank you very much for asking. How are you?
If I could ask, what really triggered that thing? I didn't listen to you from the beginning. The whole debate and discussion on religion there.
Oh, well, two things really. One is it actually came out as something I wanted to talk about because of the census. It's one of the census, bits of information that you get out of the census. Mm-hmm. And then two, within the context of us marking Lawas, I thought it would have been interesting to have that conversation as well, because in as much as Lawas is somewhat of a religious festival, it's actually a little more than that. It's a culture. We see more as a cultural festival as well. And I thought it was an interesting time to have that conversation about religion and how religion shifts as culture shifts as well. So I thought it was interesting to raise this up today.
Thing was the reason that one of the reasons the laws and so on. Why you came up? You had that discussion.
Yes.
Yeah. Because somehow I was expecting, knowing you that not really knowing you, but I think you sometimes you like to focus on the issues of the current and so on. And I was somehow expecting you to be more on thing, and I've been hearing, I heard no mention of Laos, but now that's why I asked you that.
Okay. All right.
So, and I didn't hear from the beginning.
Okay. Well, we actually started off talking about Laos. Yes.
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And the context of Laos and La Marguerite not just being, although they're religious, pseudo-religious, well, I wouldn't say pseudo because they actually do have a religious connotation, but that the connotations are far greater than that because there are political connotations within it. There are socio-economic connotations or connections with these types of festivals or rituals, if you want to call them that.
Now, let me ask you, I missed out on I started listening when you were speaking about, I think, the second, you won the third highest, the first highest of what you said?
Oh, in terms of the world? The largest is Christianity right now, and then Islam.
Okay.
And then the third largest is actually secular individuals, people who don't really follow any particular religion or who may be atheists as well.
So you link Christianity with Judaism, no?
No. Judaism is distinct.
What, 6?
No. I said Judaism is distinct. It's a distinct religion.
So where does it stand?
Oh, Judaism is very small in the scheme of things. Judaism only represents about 0.2% of the world's population.
But you think you could separate Judaism from Christianity?
Well, I made mention that Christianity, Islam, and Judaism.
There's an indelible link there, that.
Jews would not consider themselves to be Christians, though.
They would not, notwithstanding that. They on the Christians on the front line defending Judaism.
Oh well,
And
certainly.
the root of the whole philosophy is founded on
But we've
on
also
that.
had a lot of Christians killing Jews. We've had a lot of Christians killing Jews as well. Let's not forget that, eh?
When? Where?
Yeah, during throughout the history of Christianity, you've had situations where
So, well, I
Jews
guess
have
you could
been
say Hitler was
persecuted.
a Christian, eh?
Jews have been killed in
Yeah,
nearly
Hitler and
every
the
European
Nazis were
country.
Christians, no?
Sorry?
The Nazis were Christians, eh?
Well, the Nazis were Christians or agnostics, or
I don't know.
they were not.
Because, you know,
But largely the Nazis were coming from a Christian country, from Germany, right? So that which was largely Christian, right? So yes, you could say so. So and I'm not too sure that you could say that necessarily that the people within the Nazi party were necessarily very religious, but they were coming from a Christian society, and there was a Christian society that largely participated or turned a blind eye to the Holocaust.
Mhm.
So you do have, I mean, I'm saying that because Judaism, I don't know that you could necessarily say that it's all the same, but they do have certain commonalities, just as with Islam. There's certain commonalities with Christianity and Islam. So, but they are considered to be distinct.
Now, if we could talk about our situation with regards to religion and the nexus between religion and culture, what do you make of that?
But put it this way, it has pretty much always been that way. That religion has always, because it deals with people's emotions, and it tries to order people's lives and structures their way of thinking and their motivations, and their aspirations. Religion is part of culture. It's certainly a major part of culture. And sometimes it seeps into culture in a very pervasive way. So like I was giving the example of Laos, we are celebrating it as a cultural festival, but there is some religious connotation within the context, rooted within religion.
Because even the whole Saint Lucia saint,
or rather, what I would say,
saint, which saint, you know, is
Saint Rose de Lima. But or rather,
no, what I'm saying is that Saint Lucia.
Yes, Saint Lucia.
Our very name.
Yes.
Suggests that we rooted in Catholicism.
You could argue that, although you have Saint Vincent and they are majority Protestant as well. So, but the names, when I Christianity, yes.
There's not much between.
It's a Christian tradition. I mean, you go to Barbados and all the parishes are named after
Roman Catholic
after Christian saints, right? So
I mean, there's not much difference. Yeah, but you see, because I tend to think that Catholics have hijacked our culture, and as if everything we do, is premise. Everything, you have treat, everything is the church. You see what I'm saying?
Well, you're using the word hijack. Some people may say I've had a very strong influence over it, but definitely.
Yeah. Because to the extent that you say to me that a particular person is queen of culture, I've never heard that of in any other country, Somebody referred to as queen of culture or king of culture. Who is the king of culture?
Well, there was is it Mr. Polio, who was
he's the king of culture?
I don't know if he's the king of culture. I'm just saying when he
But you know who's the queen of culture, of course.
Well, you're referring to Sesen?
Oh, okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Good, Mr. George. Sesen is the queen of culture. Now, from what I know, Sparrow is referred to as the king of Calypso. Bob Marley is referred to as the king of reggae. You know what I'm saying? Which is an aspect of the totality of the culture of the countries. No, not the whole thing.
Just an aspect.
They participate and distinguish themselves.
Right.
But then this lady who distinguished herself in Laos becomes the queen of culture.
Perhaps because she embodied some other aspects of the culture that I'm just saying, you know.
Well, to me, it's not. Yeah, well, then again, so, but we must go beyond just the whole idea. If we accept that, and it seems we have accepted that over the years, we must go way beyond the whole idea of she just being a Chantuelle. Basically, that's a main contribution. That's what they highlight when we talk about her. You know, it seems like when you talk about the maroon lady in Jamaica,
Nani?
we talk about what she, you know, all these things, you know, how she fought and how she resisted and so on and so forth. But we just limit our culture, our queen of culture, my brother, limited to just Laos. I mean, it says something about us that, you know, we reject all other. And culture is dynamic, my brother. It changes, it adjusts as time goes by.
But does it say that we reject everything else? I'm not sure that it says so necessarily.
Well, I don't know. But the thing is, I don't know. We don't. How many books have we written about how many things other than, you know, from the time it seems synonymous with Laos and Flower Festival. The same way, you know, when you hear Bob Marley, that's synonymous with reggae music. The whole other aspects of life, the multiplicity of aspects, other aspects of life in Jamaica, you cannot, you know, you cannot link him with that and talk about king of culture in Jamaica. The same thing with Mighty Sparrow. You can't call Mighty Sparrow king of culture, king of calypso. So why it is now, this lady is not just queen of Laos, and she's designated queen of culture. So that begs the definition of our culture. What is our culture?
I take your point that it should perhaps have been something a little bit more specific to her area of where she, in fact, made a major contribution. Not just Laos, La Marguerite as well.
I'm not saying she's not queen of culture, you know. I said if so be it, then she must not only just be queen of Laos music. You understand what I'm saying?
But for her to be queen of culture, that doesn't mean that you can't have other queens of culture, you know.
Oh, is that so?
I don't think so. Why not?
You know any others?
No, I'm not saying that we've named any others, but I'm saying that we don't have to necessarily limit ourselves to one.
There's only room for one, you know.
Really?
But you could see that.
Countries have kings and queens all the time. They come and go.
No. Yeah, well, but the dominant one.
They come and go.
One,
it's like here we
look at our country over there.
Why do we think we should have one father of the nation? In the United States, they're fathers of the nation, right?
No. I'm agreeing with you, you
know. So you can have many fathers of. So we should perhaps have George Charles as a father of the nation and John Compton as a father of the nation. So, but this idea that you.
Well, the way I put it is that, okay, the father of the nation is something. What you call it, Sir John. Then the grandfather is Sir George.
Grandfather.
You know,
right.
in my thinking.
And maybe I
don't reject that he's the father.
Yeah, well, okay.
But if he's the father, so I agree with what you're saying, that we don't have to have one father, but then come out with the others.
Agreed. Very well then.
You understand? Let me roll out the others.
Understood.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Brother.
Thanks for that point, caller. Have a good one.
Yeah.
And of course, we are already out of time. We haven't even gotten to the rest of the data, so I think we'll have to continue that conversation regarding religion in St. Lucia, or faith in St. Lucia, perhaps next week. So we do hope that you can join us for that. But in the meantime, do have yourself a very wonderful Feast of Lawas. And we'll be back again, God willing, for another program next week.